Tristan with Nerdette's NewsStand, and we have this new show, and I talked about it before. I did review episode 1, so I'll put that in the link in the description. But Stargirl, and we're talking more JSA, so it's unknown characters to most. But my God, like, I feel like this whole video is going to be me going, it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. Everything about this show, I absolutely love. Like, down to the acting, the side characters. There are a few parts that I really kind of want to take a look at. And there is some extra needed suspension of disbelief, I believe is what it's called. And there's a few parts that you really do need that. But for the most part, this show has been the best show since Gotham. And I loved Gotham. So let's talk about this episode. Episode 2, it was called Stripe. And we see Stargirl, and it starts off exactly where it left off. When we had Stripe, which has Pat in it, going up to Courtney, basically saving her from Brainwave, right? And he's an amazing villain. He really, really is. Like, he's so serious. I don't know how someone can ever be that serious, but he takes Courtney back to the garage, and she kind of rides on his back. And that's where I'm talking about suspension of disbelief, because, come on, she's a little girl, she's like 15, and she's able to hold on to him flying through the air. There's simple things like that. But one of my favorite parts of this whole show, one, I have like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, but one of my favorite parts is her and the staff kind of communicating back and forth, right? And you see her go to set the staff down, and they're kind of arguing back and forth, and her hands are shaking. And she goes, I know I'm upset too. And it's like real, raw human emotion from a female character. And on that, female character, on that level, right now, that's unheard of, because women are all good. They can do no wrong. But when you want to create a true character with depth, and that's what they've really done with Courtney, and I don't think Jeff Johns would let this character go by the wayside, simply because it was based off his sister who passed away, and he's got a lot invested in this character. So seeing that raw emotion, seeing that depth in character is really, really refreshing. But then we have Pat, and he's not only a sidekick, right? Well, kind of a sidekick by the end, but we see him as a father and a protector to, Barbara, Courtney, and the son. I can't remember his name, but it really puts him in a bad position, all of this going on, even if she's able to fight. So they want to kind of, she wants to get justice for her father and everybody else that died from the JSA, but he also wants to protect her. He wants to protect her as, her new father. That's, stepfather. But even so, it's a really good relationship dynamic they have there. He wants to protect Barbara. He wants to protect his son. So it's a really, you see the masculine traits of just raw protection, raw masculinity. And even from he's a Wilson brother. I forget which one, Pat or Owen. I don't know. Lucar Owen, one of the two. He's the less famous one. But, you see that masculinity, even if he's not a very masculine male, you see that raw protection, and I really, really enjoy it. So we see the mayor's house, right? And Brainwave shows up in the middle of the night. And this is where we learn of Jordan, who is Icicle, who, between him and Cobra King, are basically going to be our main villains. I believe it's going to be Jordan, but we learn of his grand plan. It's called Project New America. Now, there is another part here that I am going to mildly complain about. Now, he shows up in the middle of the night. He gets his wand. He's not sure who it is. Everything's okay. But when he leaves, there's a really weird interaction with his wife, right? His wife is worried. Someone showed up in the middle of the night. And she walks down the stairs, and she just wants to know what's going on. And he's like, she asks who's there, right? And he's like, no one, go back upstairs. This is my business, not yours. And she does. She goes back upstairs. Like, excuse me, what? Someone just came to our house in the middle of the night. You tell me to go upstairs and it's not my business. Fuck you. No. Another, like, where you gotta kind of suspend disbelief, because any wife, I don't care if you're the most submissive woman in the world, you're going to be concerned you have a child. Nah. So, we do see some basic planning between the two, and then, we get one of the best scenes. Okay, I said I was gonna say that a couple times, which is a montage of him getting Stripe ready, and ready for battle, and he's like, it's just this whole ball of adorable, he's in the middle of a cornfield and he's trying to get his punch capability ready, and it's not working. So it's really good. We also get the mom for Pat and Courtney, see them with bruises, right? Because she was in battle and so was Pat. And they've got, these bruises on their face at the breakfast table. But she buys the fact that they both fell down the stairs. Okay. Again, with that suspension of disbelief. But, I really do like the son in this show, because it's so like a kid nowadays. Not from when I was a kid, but a kid nowadays. He has a problem with his mouth. And he's really young, so what, maybe, I would say 12. I guess they don't really specify. But he has a problem with his mouth. Honey, that's so relatable. I totally get it. But then we get Brainwave and his son. Now, if you remember from my first review, Courtney blew up Brainwave's car, or Brainwave's son's car. And you get this real raw human emotion from Brainwave's son. Just seeing him, fear his father, fear everything around his father, even talking to him, even though he has no problem stealing money from him. So Brainwaves keep driving home the fact that a girl was able to beat him up. And you see that pain and disdain on the son's face. And he's a really, really good actor. Perfect for the part. So we get this making of the costume montage, right? And she goes into the home ec room again. See, this whole episode is suspension of disbelief. Because nobody's in the home ec room for hours while she's doing this, and she breaks a bunch of sewing machines. She does end up getting it, she ends up getting it made, but it's just a really long time that it took, and it just seems very unrealistic in the middle of the day at school. So we see the mom with her boss, and we find out that her boss is Cobra King, and then we get my favorite character, besides Icicle, which is Crusher. Now, he is Sportsmaster. He is going to be, rather, Sportsmaster. He's Sportsmaster in disguise. He owns Crusher's gym, and Pat goes there, to start a workout regimen. Since he's going to be doing Stripe, he needs to be in shape. I love him. He's such a good character. He's so fucking intense. He's so cute. I love everything about him. So we get this open house, right? And both Pat and Courtney are looking for Brainwave. And Brainwave, then again, is looking for Courtney. He has her ID badge, and he's trying to find her. Well, they do end up, finding each other. And Courtney and Brainwave are together in the hall. And Brainwave tells her to bring the staff there at midnight, or he'll kill her mother in an extremely painful way and make it look like a stroke. A 15-year-old girl is going to freak out. But we get, this leads to a really great moment back at the house with Pat. It's all emotion. And we see this Pat selflessly tell Courtney if he's not back in the morning to get Mike. Oh, Mike is his name. I'm glad I had it written down here. And Barbara. And leave Blue Valley and never, ever look back. And then right before he leaves, he says, and tell your mom I love her. And leaves to go confront, Brainwave as Stripe. And the raw emotion on these actors' faces is something we haven't seen for so long. And it's really quite refreshing. So, we get this Stripe versus Brainwave. But we also get Barbara come in and talk to Courtney. And just, say, I really appreciate you trying with Pat. I really appreciate you guys, the way you've interacted together. The way we've grown as a family. Stuff like this. And, of course, Courtney's like, fuck. I gotta go help Pat. I gotta make sure this man lives. He makes my mom so happy. So, Stripe versus Brainwave, right? He gets himself kind of in a pickle and, shoved between two, a bus and a car, and he can't get out. But that's when we see Courtney show up. And she has got her costume on. I love it. She's like, she jumps, down. She says, I'm Starkick, and this is my sidekick. Like, it's a really cute, wholesome part, because he was Stripesy with Starman, and now he has Stripe. So we've got Stars and Stripe, in this show. I like it a lot. So, she gets in mild trouble. But the choreography in this part is done so well. Like, we've already learned that she's a gymnast and she's able to do these things, so that's not really an issue, but it's so good. Like, oh, I love it. So anyways, he obviously is trying to kill her, and he gets a hold of her head, and he's, her ears start bleeding. We think she's able, this looks really, really bad, but she's able to get a hold of the staff, even being pinned underneath something, and she gets it right up to his head, and she actually doesn't mean to do this, but this, the electricity in the staff, the telekinesis power that he provides, short circuits basically upon his head, and oh my god, it's basically like he's brain dead at this point, and they do drop him off at the hospital, and he's in a coma, but that's it. So she is worried that she killed him. Of course, any, 15-year-old, any superhero should be worried that they killed somebody. But she also wants to get justice for all of the members of the JSA that were killed, by the injustice members of America, or Society of America. So, Pat is, of course, worried because of what happened with her father. And they do have this, cute little moment, it's, what is Stripe? I did this last time. Stripe stands for something, right? And instead of it standing for that, now they kind of change it to, a PAT enhancer, PE. I'll put it on the screen. I forget what, strategic, trying to do it, I don't know. But the best scene in the entire show. Third time I've said that, right? This villain outro. So, we see Icicle, and he's heading to this underground layer. And he's walking down, and the music, the score on this is really well done. Like, the cinematography, the characters, the depth of the characters, the way Jeff Johns has rewritten these characters for screen is all done well. What I haven't mentioned yet is that the music is so well done. So perfect music for this. He's heading down. He walks up to kind of, this cage looking thing, or prison looking thing, jail cell. And he says, hello, old friend. Now, if you remember in my first review, I said we saw Solomon Grundy. Well, we see him again. He doesn't look very happy, but Solomon Grundy is in fact still in the show. So, when he gets finally to the bottom, Cobra King is waiting, and they have pictures of Courtney, and basically the show ends out by saying, Icicle. And he says, don't worry, or because, Cobra King says, well, what do we do now? He says, we don't worry. I killed one Starman, and I can kill another. And that's where the show ends out, and the music ends, and it's fucking fantastic, and I'm going to show because I love this show. I know that I know it's probably, my biases towards the JSA characters. I love them. I would like to see, I guess it really wouldn't make sense, but I'd love to see Cyclone. But anyways, I know that's part of it, but I'm telling you, not only as a comic book fan, mainly as a comic book fan, as somebody who can't get into shows, as somebody who can't get into movies, because I don't enjoy the visual medium near as much as I enjoy the medium of comic books, because it's, how I've always been. This show is the best thing. It's very I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. I was gonna say it's very, very close to being just as good as Gotham, and that's probably my favorite, live action TV show ever. And maybe give it a few more episodes before I say it's better. But my God, I'm so impressed. Jeff Johns they just need to get rid of Greg Berlanti and put Jeff in that part, because they would have no issues with worrying about Batwoman or the Arrowverse going absolutely by the wayside. They would have none. It also helps that this is a DCU show instead of a, CW show. That helps a lot. But just everything about this, I can't say enough good without feeling like I'm shilling just simply because I'm a JSA and a DC fan. But I'm really, really, really impressed. Every single character is so well done. And I do think we're also maybe going to get, since Brainwave is in a coma, we have seen, his son take over. And maybe we learned that Johnny Thunder was killed during this whole big battle. So maybe we'll get Jakem Thunder. I don't know. There's so many possibilities when it comes to these legacy characters. I love it. Let me know what you guys think, of course. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon and subscribe stars. You guys literally make this channel possible. Huge thank you to Cage the Mick, Robert Mick Twiz, Black Knight Fool, Brucey, Chris Z, David L, David Rafford, Jeffrey Allen Carnes, Mighty Balls, Mike Buckner, Maizen Barbosa, Ruskar, Ryan Decker, Robert Hoffman, and Doc Holliday. You guys are absolutely amazing, and thank you so much for all your support. Don't forget on the way out to like as always if you enjoy the content and hit subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.